Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's session. I'm Tom Colucci, Relocation Director for Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage of Colorado, and today we're going to talk about the Relocation Department and the different segments of business within the Relocation Department. Some of those pieces of business you actually can start working on now as an agent without even being on the relocation team. So we'll break that down for you, and we will take a look at the different pieces in the next slide. The first slide is going to show you some different logos, and those are some different pieces of business and how we market those pieces of business. The Platinum Club refers to agents at Coldwell Banker in Colorado that close 2 or more outgoing referrals in a calendar year, and we'll talk about what comes along with that a little bit later on. CB Connections refers to our outgoing referral program, and we'll discuss how you can jump in and get started with those referrals as well. The Cardis logo you'll see quite a bit. Cardis is the largest relocation provider in the world. We are a principal broker on the Cardis network with platinum status, which is the highest level that you can obtain, and we do get quite a few referrals each year, and we'll discuss that a little bit later on as well. So here's a look at the different business opportunities within the relocation department. The first one you'll see is the affinity program. When we talk about affinity business, that is a membership or a group. So the best example of affinity business would probably be USAA. So USAA includes active and retired military and their family. Because they belong to USAA, they receive a rebate, a cash back from Coldwell Banker for using the program. The affinity business in Colorado for USAA, using them as an example, is given between Coldwell Banker and Sotheby's here in the Denver market, and Coldwell Banker and ERA Shields down south. Corporate business refers to a relocation business that a company is providing, typically through a third party. A good example would be Lockheed Martin. They recently moved several hundred employees to the facility in Roxborough and Littleton area, and they worked through Cardis. Broker-to-broker referrals would be any referral that you are placing to another broker outside of our service area in Colorado, or when you're receiving a broker-to-broker referral for someone in Colorado that you'll be helping. R&I talks about our referral network. That is for inactive licensees who would like to make referrals through the network and be compensated for those referrals. And then last, we'll talk about sales leads, where you can actually provide leads to the relocation department, which would result in residual income to you if we do sign that business for relocation. Cardis, we talked about a minute ago, 130,000 transactions in 160 countries around the world. Again, the largest provider of relocation services in the world. When we talk about the Cardis broker network, this is the broker network that Cardis manages. This is the broker network that we belong to, and this is where we place all of our outgoing referrals. So when you have an outgoing referral, meaning a piece of real estate business that does not occur within our coverage area in Colorado, you can place it through the relocation department, and we will put it out to a network broker anywhere actually in the world. So that works for in the U.S. or out of the U.S. It's a performance-based network, so we have to meet certain criteria every year. There's lots of criteria that we need to achieve, and with your help, we've been able to do that the last few years. We place referrals in the network as outgoing referrals, and we get quite a bit of business coming into us, with other brokers reciprocating, so we want to keep that going. And as I mentioned, we have domestic and international reach. We have placed referrals outside of the U.S., in Athens, Greece, Florence, Italy, the Bahamas, Mexico, and other U.S. territories as well. So don't hesitate if you do have someone outside of the U.S. that you'd like to help. The next screen takes a look at some of the relocation management company partners. So a lot of times agents and even some branch managers will refer to relocation business as Cardis business. Well, you should know that Cardis is actually only one relocation management company. It is the largest volume of business that we receive. However, if you check the Employee Relocation Council website, which is our trade group in Washington, D.C., you'll see close to 100 relocation management companies. And so on this slide here, we list the top companies that we work with. It looks like about 25 or so companies that provide us the most business. So these are the most common names that you'll see in our marketplace, either moving someone in or moving someone out of the area. And then these are the corporations that are actually connected to those relocation management companies that you saw on the last slide. Most corporations do not want to work directly with a real estate brokerage or with a real estate agent. Typically, they will hire someone like Cardis or one of the other relocation companies that we just took a look at to help them move their employees. And those companies provide an array of services. We help with the real estate piece. So we help with the listing piece if someone's relocating out of Colorado. We help with the home finding if they're coming into Colorado. But just know that these employers, in many cases, offer many more services to their employees. And again, it's through a relocation company. So they'll typically help them with the movement of household goods. They may help them with processing the expenses that go along with the relocation. They may help them with temporary furnished apartments, travel to the new area, and those types of things. So just to put it in perspective, in our department, there are 5 of us in Colorado, 6 including myself, that handle all of the business coming into and out of Colorado. There were 1,811 transactions last year. You see the dollar volume and the GCI figures, which is quite impressive. That was spread out over 198 agents. So of our 2,000, close to 2,000, 1,200 agents in Colorado, close to 200 shared in relocation business. We also have 2 employees in California that are part of the team, Denise Mueller and Caliento. They work on incoming and outgoing referrals and are specific to Colorado. So although they don't sit here with us, they do work our business, and you'll be working with them from time to time. So what does it take to become a Platinum agent? We talked about that earlier in the presentation. Platinum agent is any agent. It does not have to be a relocation agent. Any agent with Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage in Colorado that closes 2 outgoing referrals in a year. And that is simply 2 transactions that are not handled in our market area. So they may still be in Colorado. They may be in Grand Junction, for example. We do not have a Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage office in Grand Junction, so that would be an outgoing referral. You would place that through the relocation department. You actually can go to cbagentinfo.com. You can use the Google type search bar and put in referral or outgoing referral, and you'll be taken to the template that you can complete and send in. And then the 2 folks in California that I mentioned, Denise Mueller and Caliento, will find a broker for you to service that transaction, and then they will keep you updated throughout. They'll let you know who's assigned to the referral, and they'll let you know at key points during the referral what is happening. Now, once you close the 2 outgoing referrals, we'll welcome you to the Platinum Agent Club. We do have an overnight retreat and a cocktail reception in Vail, Colorado each spring. We also do some additional advertising. And in the past, we were advertising in the Denver Business Journal only, and it looks like we'll be able to add 5280 magazine as well. So that's a photo ad with your contact information so that consumers and other agents looking to send relocation business our way could ask for you specifically. So it's been a great boost for agents that have achieved that in the past. CB Connections, so that is what we call the outgoing referral program. And just as the bullets mentioned, referrals make the real estate world go round. So we want to give as many referrals to the network outside of our market area as we can. And in turn, we want to get as many referrals coming into Colorado for business here as we can. To give you an idea, last year we closed about 220 outgoing referrals outside of our market area, so that was a pretty sizable amount. We want to keep that going. Just so that everyone knows and is clear, we did change the way we pay these outgoing referrals. As of January 5th of this year, all agents will be paid their full split on 35%. So we obtain a 35% referral fee now on all of the referrals that are placed through the Cardis Broker Network. You, in turn, are paid your full split on the 35%. Nothing is retained by the relocation department. Just know that if we're using someone outside of the Cardis network, there's a chance that we will only be able to get the 25%, which is typical on broker-to-broker referrals outside of our network. The other thing I want to mention is you can choose your own agent, and most agents don't realize that. So you can actually request an agent. The agent can be with any brand. So believe it or not, you can request a RE/MAX agent. You can request Keller Williams. If you have a friend, relative, former business associate that you know very well and you know will do a good job for your client, regardless of their affiliation, we will go after the referral fee, and in that case it will typically be 25% instead of the 35%, but please still place it in the department. You're paid the full amount on your split. Relocation does not keep anything, but we will handle the entire transaction for you. So here's a definition of an outgoing referral, and I know some folks still struggle with it. So an outgoing referral is a referral of anyone who wants to buy or sell real estate anywhere that Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage in Colorado does not have coverage. So just to give you a few more examples that you may not be aware of. You may have, let's say it's your sister in Texas. So she is looking to sell her property in Dallas and looking to buy a new property in Dallas. Those are two outgoing referrals. So the transaction does not have to touch Coldwell Banker Colorado in any way. You can go to CB Agent Info, pull up the template, and put both of those referrals through. You can ask to speak to the agent that we're going to assign to make sure you're comfortable with them. You can also ask to speak to the branch manager there, and you can get a feel for who might be a good agent for you. They're always placed through the Cardis Broker Network as long as we have coverage there. Keep in mind it will not always be a Coldwell Banker brand. So Relogy, which is the parent company of NRT, has 5 different brands. So you may see referrals being placed with Sotheby's, Century 21, ERA, or Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. So just be aware of that. Should you be on a relocation team? So some of the benefits of being on a relocation team is actually the spin-off business that comes from that. And the relocation fees are not inexpensive. So many agents don't want to be on the relocation team, and that's why you'll see roughly 150 or so out of our 1,200 associates that are on the team. So if you'd like to be on the relocation team, there are some requirements. You need to close 10 transactions per year for the prior 2 years. So once you close those 20 transactions and you've been in the business full-time for 2 years, you can see your branch manager and they would have to recommend you for the team. It very much depends on how many agents are already on the team in your office and how much business your office typically gets. But the reference to 1 equals 3 is a study that was done, actually I believe it was in New England, where they took a look at relocation referrals over a period of time, and for every relocation referral that an agent received, they achieved or obtained 3 additional pieces of business that were outside of relocation. So let's say we give you that relocation transaction and you help that person move out of Boston, Massachusetts, let's say. You should see 3 additional transactions from that. So let's say they're coming into Colorado. You're hoping that they're going to refer you their friends, their relatives that would not be attached with a referral fee. And typically you'll see 2 to 3 transactions come out of that. So here's a slide that talks a little bit about how we're structured as a company. I mentioned Relogy. Relogy is at the top as the parent company. Relogy is the parent of NRT. NRT is the owner of Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage, and that includes Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage of Colorado. You'll see Relogy also owns those franchise brands that I mentioned as well, and you may see some referrals coming in from their other brands. When you look at relocation, again, Cardis is owned by Relogy, and we also own title and settlement services as well. There's also a joint venture with PHH Mortgage and Axiom Financial, which is the company that operates for mortgages here in Colorado. You'll see some other affiliated businesses as well, Castle Edge Insurance, which was formerly NRT Insurance. You'll see the Corcoran Group, which is in New York City, that's owned by NRT, and some of their subsidiaries on the slide as well. So we have a far-reaching, broad scope that we can help with. So the next slide, we're going to talk about sales leads. And when we talk about sales leads, it's really referring to you as an agent, knowing anyone outside of real estate that you can introduce us to. So we hear from some newer associates here that they worked in a corporate environment in the past, whatever the company was, and they think that the former corporation could have really used our help with relocation. So they were moving folks in, they were moving folks out of the area, and they tried to do it on their own. So typically it's a human resources manager that's handling the relocation business, and typically they're arranging for the transfer of household goods, they're arranging for the furnished corporate apartment, a lot of times they're making travel arrangements, all those things that they really don't need to be doing that we as a relocation management company could be doing for them. So we ask you to introduce us to those folks. You would simply make a call, connect us, and then we'll take over from there. We will make the presentation, we will negotiate the contract and all that. You can be as involved as you'd like or not involved as all. But the gist of it is really to get us to a decision maker or someone that can connect us to the right folks. The companies don't always know that they need the help and don't know that we're out here. There is no fee for most of our services. We obtain a referral fee. It's just the direct cost that they are going to incur, like the cost of moving the household goods or the cost of a furnished apartment. If they do need to use someone on a larger scope, let's say they have a relocation policy, but they would like that to be rewritten, or they would like to benchmark their policy against other companies in similar industries, we can tap into Cardis and make the referral to them. Several of their services do come with a fee. It's very labor intensive, but we can help the company that way if it's too large of a scope for us. But as you see on the screen here, no company is really too small or too large. We do have some clients where we move someone at once a year. We'll move someone, or every other year they'll give us a referral. It's no problem with that. The one thing I should mention is we do have a program for all of you that do make the connection to us. If you provide us with a lead that turns into a contract, you will actually receive 10% of the net revenue that relocation receives. So after we pay out any expenses or any rebates, if it's an affinity program, anything like that, the net that we receive, the agent will receive 10% on each one. And whether or not you're working that business, whether or not it's in your market area, you'd be attached to the transaction in our financial system, Trident here, and you'll be paid out on every transaction. So it's a good residual income. We have a pretty large one right now with Team National out of the North Metro. The agent introduced us a little over a year ago, and we've gotten over 300 referrals since then, and this agent is receiving 10% of the net on each of those transactions. And we haven't really even had any Colorado business, I think one or two. So she's not working the business. We are in relocation, but she's getting that residual for making the introduction. So it does work. Please contact me if you want to find out any more about that. Last, I'll mention we do have a Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, you can go to Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage of Colorado Relocation, and you'll see our page. You'll see just some announcements, some articles. You can ask questions, make comments, but connect to us in that way. So that is really it for the presentation. Hopefully you found it helpful, and we hope to see you at a future seminar. Thanks for having me.